Moving on, we had Liv in the dark. Adrian Moronk, I believe, ran away with that one. I didn't catch much of that at all. Bo, did you get any of the Liv in your system this week?
I actually did. For the first time ever, I watched more than 5 minutes of live golf because I was intrigued with the Riyadh, the nighttime golf, the floodlights, and it was kind of cool because I was kind of hoping John Rahm would come back and take Adrian Moronk down, but the big, tall Pole guy, I mean, Polish guy with what is he 6'7"? He's a big, tall guy. Had enough to hang on. John Rahm was charging, missed a couple short putts down the stretch, but it was cool to see golf under the lights. There's a couple golf courses and driving ranges here in NorCal that during the summer months will stay open 24 hours and have floodlights on, and it's a really cool experience. And sometimes you can use glow balls, but in their case, they can use regular golf balls because there's enough light on the golf course to follow the ball and find it pretty easily. It's a really cool idea. NASCAR did that a number of years ago with the Pepsi 400 at Daytona, where the Daytona 500 kicks off the season, and then your last regular season race, or one of the last regular season races, is back at Daytona under the lights. Really cool thing to see. Even Wrigley Field started having night games when they put up lights. It's just something that live sports needs. Golf should join. PGA Tour needs to get on this. Maybe at something even at Torrey Pines or somewhere in Texas, like they do the Texas Swing. The Honda Classic could very easily be under the lights. Even the Waste Management. That would be. Can you imagine a bunch of drunk ASU students on night golf?
I don't know that we need any more gimmicks down there in Phoenix, but yeah, no, I
They're
think
already putting up stadium seating. They might as well put up some lights.
I think a couple of the things like with the Live Under the Lights and the TGL and
Yeah.
some of the events like the Waste Management. I think what golf fans are saying is that we like this kind of off the wall stuff. We like a little bit more of a party involved in our setting nowadays. There's always going to be the traditionalists, but I think as
Even like, but I'm as traditional as it gets. But I also like that it's not pretentious. Like golf itself has to shake the pretentious, stuffy, privatized, like yuppie type of golf because that's sometimes synonymous with PGA Tour players. They grew up on a country club. Their dad was the club pro. That's the across the board. There's quite a few professional golfers that their dad was the club pro, and so they had unlimited free lessons growing up as a junior golfer. And of course, they got these robot swings. I mean, look at JT himself, or Cameron Young. These guys are just like they're carbon copies of what they learned from a very young age, but it's not like they have a relatable story. You're not looking at Tiger Woods and saying, "Oh yeah, he's just like me." Like some of the guys are like that, but they don't highlight those guys. They want to say, "Oh, he grew up blah 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 playing golf since he was a toddler." And it's like, I don't care. I actually want to see more of the weekend style like TGL where you can press bets. You can actually put more pressure in a match play format and say, hey, this is how actual golfers on your Muni courses around the country, around the world, they play golf, betting a little bit of a couple dollars a hole. They press, they do match play, they do skins play, and the PGA Tour has kind of departed from that. Live under the lights, and then your simulator golf with TGL. That's the future of televised golf. Professional golf doesn't need help getting good players. There's always going to be some great players out there, but we as fans, as consumers, need to relate to those players as human beings. Because if we're just looking at a bunch of very privileged people who we have nothing in common with, we're not going to tune in. We don't care.
No, it's 100% to your point is the relatability, and I think all these things are good moves for golf as a whole. And I think speaking of things that are good moves for golf as a whole, while we're talking about Live, I mean the announcement that they're going to allow Live players, the best Live players, into the Open and the U.S. Open. Um,
Qualifiers, points, actual avenues to earn your way into majors. That's
yeah, it's a step in the right direction, right? Because like we're long past the point where like Live is this like I guess all that's kind of past us now, and like
it's
I
a
don't know.
it's a competitive tour.
and I don't speak for everybody, but I definitely speak for myself when I say that, like, I miss some of the guys that are on LIV, man.
Oh hell yeah!
I'm excited to see them have
Give
an
me
after.
back, give me back John Rahm and DJ and all these guys. There's so many great golfers on LIV. It is a competitive tour. It's still a little bit gimmicky, but I mean, it's still some of the greatest golfers in the world went over there, took the money. Can't really fault them. It's just what it is right now until the game merges back together eventually. We kind of have to deal with these two competing tours, but it needs to have those inroads have to be made. And I think that qualifying system for the US Open and Open Championship is a very huge step forward for the game of golf. So I'm all for it. And it gets more of those guys who are good enough back in the majors, instead of just getting your weird like 140th qualifier from the PGA Tour in majors and they're missing the cut by 5 shots. It's just we don't want to see that as much.